Welcome to Scorched Earth and a general mid-month reading for the sign of Scorpio, Sun, Moon and Ascendant for the last 2 weeks of December. I hope you're well. I still haven't managed to get my head around, I've said it several times now, get my head around the fact that it's December already. It's utterly baffling, actually, is what it is. Anywho, you may like to know that I've started working on a number of videos that are over on Vimeo at the moment, which is a 6-month overview for 2021. So that's obviously running from January to June. They're going up on Vimeo as I'm doing them. There's just a couple there at the moment. But if that's something that you're interested in, keep checking back and they'll, be up there. Going to be up there for a while anyway, so don't worry about missing them. I think that's everything I have to say to you. We're using the Wild Unknown for you today. So let's have a look and see where your energy is at the moment. Can I have 3 cards for Scorpio's energy, please? Ooh. Okay, got 2 come out together. That's interesting, the Justice card. I was showing it's supposed to be a lot before I even started the camera rolling. And I was just shuffling mindlessly with the 9 of Pentacles. I actually kind of like that for you. Anyway, I knew it was going to come out. So 2 more cards for Scorpio, please. Well, I asked for 2. I got 2. I actually wanted them 1 at a time, but all right. We've got the Ace of Cups and the 8 of Cups together. And, fuck's sake, the Lovers and the Father of Swords. This is very intriguing, Scorpio. We've gone from, when I first started this channel, it being a bit of a running joke that you always took an age for your cards to come out because it's like you didn't want to speak about your feelings, and now you're just kind of splurging them. Very interesting. You like to pull clarifiers on the mid-months, but you know what, we'll just have them here just in case. So the first 2 cards that you've got are Justice and the 9 of Pentacles. Now, Justice is the card of Libra, but it feels like this year has been a learning curve. Well, it's been a learning curve for everyone, but it's been a particularly strong learning curve for you, Scorpio. It's definitely shaken you out of a particular way of doing things that you always have done. And it's been about trying new things tentatively. And notice how we've got this kind of Bambi figure here. You are pushing yourself out of your comfort zone at the moment, and I have to say that's incredibly welcome. That's where the growth is. But it seems to be specifically in the realm of emotion, and that makes sense because that's where you are most reluctant generally to share. But you are moving in a different direction now. It might be with Bambi legs, but you're getting there. And this Justice card makes it feel like it's a really strong lesson that you were supposed to learn this year. Remember, the Justice card talks about karma and whatnot, consequences. And I think maybe part of the experience for Scorpios over 2020 is the realization that the consequences of the actions that you have been taking are not ones that you want to live with much longer. I hope that makes sense. Scorpio is incredibly complicated, right? We know that in a lot of ways. And there are a lot of traumatic things generally in Scorpio's pasts. And to some extent, the future was mapped out for you. You had everything kind of logistically laid out. You knew where you were materially, financially, but you also knew where you were emotionally, and that was closed, and you didn't want anybody coming in there. And as we've seen this year, it's been shifting for you a little bit. I just want to see this here. It's almost like it's been a dawning realization, and it's been slow, but it's come. And what you thought you wanted, what you thought you had mapped out for how your life was going to be moving forwards, is not actually something that you want at all. Tell me about this 9 of Pentacles, please. Thank you. 10 of Swords, yeah. It leads inexorably to a solitary existence, and that is not what you want. We've got the Ace of Cups at the bottom of the deck. That's really, really interesting. It's like drawing a line under the pain, drawing a line under the closed down nature of what your experience has been and what you're prepared to let it be in future. The 10 it indicates an end, and it's the end of a cycle, and we've seen that coming for you for, you know, the last few readings. You just suddenly woke up and went, whoa, fuck no, I don't want it to be like this. I want something else. Drawing an end to it. And by definition, also relinquishing your grip on the pain that has defined how you move through the world, you know? Not a pain that you share with people. It's absolutely not something that you wear on your sleeve, but it has been there. And I think you're prepared for it not to be there anymore. Now, you will never lose your darkness, Scorpio. It's one of the beautiful things about you. But you can learn to grow in spite of it, or even because of it, actually, because we've got the Strength card there. It's a card of Leo, but it talks about inner strength, right? And where, for some of you at least, there's been this sense that that people who open up are weak, and you see that is not true. Now, just looking, the card that was the wrong way around is the Fool. I really, really like that. You see that isn't actually the case, and it's an incredible act of strength to be able to open up and be vulnerable to new emotions coming in, even just the possibility of emotions coming in when you have been so incredibly hurt and betrayed in the past. This is massive. This is huge growth, Scorpio, and I fucking love this for you. I really do. It's like I said, reading for Scorpios has always broken my heart, because there's always intense pain there, and you know, I get a bit pissy about. I don't mind sharing with you, a little bit pissy about people characterizing Scorpios as you know, well, you know, selfish, self-obsessed, uncaring, unfeeling, spiteful, vindictive. Now, don't get me wrong, it is possible for Scorpio to be all of those things, but it's very low vibe energy, and actually there are a great deal of high vibe Scorpios out there, but you can be high vibe and still kind of damaged and not really know why. The intent is pure, but like, how do you deal with it? You don't know. There's been a process here. There's been some sort of awakening, some sort of spiritual or emotional, or both, potentially. But maybe even material, you know? For a lot of you, you're kind of condemning yourself to a life of isolation here in this world, and I think that a lot of you have realised that you don't want that. Now, that's not to say that you're just going to shack up with anyone just so that you're not alone. Like, that's not how you roll. There's something very noble, actually, I think, about Scorpio energy, and I just don't think that you would... I don't think that you would stick to something like that, to be honest. But there's an openness to new emotional possibilities, even if there is no one there yet. The openness is there. And we've got these two cards here again, Eight of Cups and the Ace of Cups. And you could read them slightly differently depending on which one came first, and they came out together, so it's kind of difficult to tell. I mean, we've got the Ace at the bottom of the deck here, so this card's doubled up, and therefore we can give, I imagine, double weight to this meaning, right? This is the open, receptive energy. This is allowing things to come in. This is entirely contrary to the Scorpio experience, right? It's indicating this big shift here. But we've got this Eight of Cups. You don't have any issue cutting people off, right? You're like Leo in that way. But where Leo kind of pines and is desperately sad about that move that they've had to make, like Scorpios have always kind of put it in a box and gone, no, fuck that, I'm not interested in it, right? It feels like the box has been pulled out from wherever it was, and it's kind of been opened. And almost like the thought of what was in there was so much worse than actually what was there when you went to go and have a look. I think we've covered this before in other videos this year, or certainly more recently. This kind of dark detective vibe, like you want to go and find the things that are in there now. And actually it's just full of broken glass, right? There isn't actually anything in there. You've been kind of reacting to the thought of it rather than the thing itself. And this is being, it's been purified, it's being overrun by a desire to do things differently. Now, even if this one came first, you know, it's a movement from away from these kind of vessels and towards this kind. Or an opening up has allowed you to see that these are no longer a threat. You know, whichever way it is, it's a tremendous leap from where you were at the beginning of the year, and you should be proud of yourselves for doing that. Got anything else for the Ace of Cups, please? Thank you. The Chariot. That was one of the cards that was the wrong way around when I was fiddling about with them there. I like this. This card talks to me about shadow work, right? Now, you're no stranger to the shadow for sure, but integration of the shadow into you, into your whole, is now something that you are working on, right? Now, integration of your dark bits as well. There's an acceptance. There's a forgiveness there. You know, maybe a lot of you Scorpios are starting to forgive yourself for things that you have felt very guilty about, things that you felt something approaching shame about, but then you put in a box because you're like, no, this is not helping me with my worldview at the moment. I need not to be thinking about this. It's kind of like you put it out and you go like, actually, do you know what? It's okay. It's all right. You know, and you have no idea how much strength there is for you off the back of that. Now, the next two cards that we have for your current energy here are the Lovers and the Father of Swords. That's Gemini energy and Aquarius energy, respectively. Both earth sign and air sign energy. But this is a card of manifestation. What you think, so you shall create. It's that sort of vibe, but it's not about... It's subtly different to the Magician, because the Magician is all just about applying will, you know, with the right element to produce the thing that you want. And Scorpio, actually, you probably don't have that much of an issue manifesting materially. Manifesting emotionally is something that's always been very, very difficult for you, because you have to, you know what you want, you have to be open to receiving it, you know, yada yada yada, all that sort of thing. The Lovers is almost like a card of intent to manifest, because it's about conscious co-creation. It's about stepping up and wanting to have X, Y, and Z in your life, and you see very clearly now, in a way that you haven't done before, actually partnership is something that is really, really important to you. Intimacy is something that is really, really important to you. And good, it should be. Tell me about the Lovers, please. You've been on your own, struggling, suffering, isolated for far too long. And you've abandoned your own emotional necessities by telling yourself that you didn't need them. And that's not true. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't undermine you in any sort of way to want that in your life. It just makes you human. You know? Welcome. Got the Three of Pentacles here, but this is a really interesting one, where this is a card of cooperation and collaboration, right? Working together with people in order to create something. There you are, isolated. And you're like, yeah, I'll work on it, but I'll work on it on, you know, my terms. Oh, and I've got to be on my own as well. And if you get too close, I'm going to fuck off into a field and do it by myself. You know, this is that kind of energy. You've been very good at giving the impression of working with people, but they've never really quite understood how much of yourself you've kept back. And maybe it's been such a pattern for you now that actually you didn't realise how much of yourself you'd kept back. But it feels like it's shifting. It's not something you want for yourself anymore. Tell me about this Father of Swords, please. Yeah. Got the Page of Cups and the Ace of Swords. Yeah, like, you want to open up. You want this forgiveness. You want the light in there somewhere. We've got the other card of Leo, Sun card at the bottom of the deck here. That is positive. The most positive card in the deck, actually, but it talks about that, you know, talks about the joy of being alive. And that's something that's quite alien to Scorpios. All of the major arcana under here. But the Sun followed by the Hermit, that's Leo and Virgo energy there, but it's like bringing light to the dark places. Like I said, you're never going to lose your darkness. You're a fucking Scorpio, but you can wear it lighter than you have been doing. And not, you know, necessarily for external consumption, but for your own consumption. I love it. Actually love it. Right, let's have a look. Because what I do in the mid-month readings is look for the lesson of the energy that you find yourself in at the moment. I feel like I kind of answered that, but I'm pretty sure I say that every time I do this reading. So tell me about the lesson for Scorpio, please. This lesson. I mean, yeah, okay. We've got the Eight of Swords at the bottom of the deck. That talks about mental restriction. The interesting thing is, though, look at this. We've got the Eight of Swords, followed by this Piscean card of the High Priestess, and then we've got the Ten of Wands. You have willingly kept yourself trapped in a lot of ways because it was easier than opening up and dealing with what was inside, right? Because it was burden, it was hard. But where that didn't feel like a restriction, in some ways it felt like a boon. It felt like it gave you an advantage over other people because you were not subject to these messy emotional things. You're actually perceiving now how that has held you back, and I actually think it's not something that you want anymore. Like, oh well, I've just fucking said that. Anyway, the lesson is the Five of Wands, the Four of Cups in reverse, and the Page of Swords. And I think that's actually it's an incredibly coherent message here, because the Five of Wands is talking about conflict, and for you it's been inner conflict. It's been this right, let's not misunderstand just how difficult it has been for you to flip your worldview around. No shit, it's not even your worldview, it's your internal view of yourself, because like I said, you had everything set out in nice neat boxes, right? Scorpios know exactly how they're going to approach everything because they you're arachnids at the end of the day. There's something a bit spidery about, you know, the way that Scorpios approach things. Lots and lots of webs all out in, you know, different directions, and when something comes along and taps on the web somewhere, like, you know exactly where that is, you know how to react to it, you've already foreseen the possibility of things going this way, right? So to have to do some work that in a sense kind of kicks that way that you've approached the world into the long grass, and gone, okay, like, it's not about foreseeing everything, it's not about setting things up, it's not about, you know, constructing, because you've had, well, for the longest time, a reputation for being somewhat Machiavellian, kingmakers rather than kings, because that's where the power is, you know, but, you know, manipulative, all that kind of thing. It's like, that's all, it's the gameplay, shoved out of the way, and now it's about actually experiencing what is going on in front of you in the fullest possible way. But in order to do that, you've had to internally restructure, and that's huge. And it didn't come without a small amount of internal conflict, but you pushed through. Now this Four of Cups here can talk about rejection. It can talk about being rejected or rejecting. It can talk about things being taken for granted, you know. And I feel like all of this has been in your mind. It's been rolling now ever since you just had your epiphany, you know. The reason why you reject, and how much rejection has hurt you in the past, and the fact that that's probably the reason why you've rejected so much, you know. And it's 4 of Cups books. Temperance, yeah. It's that Sagittarian energy, that transmutation of pain, you know, into healing, and then showing up differently in the world. I really love this card because it's Temperance, but it says Keeper of the Well at the top, and she's not just next to a well, she's actually underwater, you know, she's actually a mermaid there. The navigation of your emotions has improved multifold since you stopped deceiving yourself about what it is that you want from your life. Now, we just noticed that we've got the 7 of Swords at the bottom of the deck there, but there you are, Scorpio. I was waiting for you to put in an appearance. Always show up for your own readings. And then we've got this Page of Swords. Right? Now, this is important because this is all about expansive thinking, you know. It's about thinking about the world in a different way. And like I said, yours has been very structured. It's been very... strategic. That's a word that I would use for Scorpio. Very strategic. But it's almost like a rounding off of your edges, Scorpio. Like you're prepared to roll with things a little bit more. And, you know, it's going to take quite a bit of time to unbuild, you know, to take down all the mechanisms that you have in place to be able to, you know, think 15 steps ahead of everybody else and just enjoy what is in front of you. But it feels like it's work you're prepared to do, and more than that, that you actually are undertaking at the moment. That's 4 of Swords, thank you. 4 of Swords, yeah, like you've gone deep, you've gone within. We've got the World at the bottom of the deck. You're done. You're done with the pain, you're done with all of it. And you want something different for your life. Oh, bravo. Brava. Whichever one applies to you, Scorpios. Good shit. I said this in July. I know I keep harping on about it, but like I really do feel vindicated with, you know, what I felt about this. I was really confused about what Scorpio was doing. I was seeing every other sign doing important work, making important shifts on, you know, in how they were approaching both themselves and the rest of the world, you know. And then there was Scorpio, and Scorpio was bouncing from one drama to another, looking for the answers anywhere other than inside them, because they didn't want to look inside. They wanted to go to every conceivable possibility until they hit, you know, something that might give them the answers. And eventually it was like you just stopped. There was nowhere else to go. And then you were there. And then the answers just appeared. It's fucking magnificent. Anyway, what I said in July was that I think my exact words were, don't really know what Scorpio's doing. They seem to be doing something entirely different to the rest of the zodiac. But I think they'll surprise us. They'll be the ones who come from the rear and overtake everybody else, because they've got those 3 evolutions, you know. They can transform altogether. And by Jove, Scorpio, I feel like that's what you're doing right now. Subverting expectations. And that's something that you love to do, but you're kind of doing it accidentally. You're kind of doing it with no mind to do it at the moment. And that's probably why it's so very effective, because it's not for external consumption. It's internal, and it's for you. I love it. Stop shuffling, and I've got the Fool at the bottom of the deck. So let's get you some advice. Some advice for Scorpio, please. Ooh. And we have the Hanged Man. Beautiful. Just want to point out that Temperance and the Hermit flipped there. I'm not going to take them, but I'm quite pleased that they came out. I have 2 more cards of advice for Scorpio, please. Shit. Oh, goodness. And one more card for Scorpio, thank you. Oh, this is so beautiful. I just love it. Can't tell you how much I love you, Scorpios. I just absolutely adore you. I want you to understand that. So, we have the Hanged Man. We have the Three of Swords, the Mother of Pentacles, and the Empress. And that is fucking magnificent, right? I'll explain why in a second. And then we've got the Star. This is the card of Aquarius here. Saturn is moving into Aquarius on the 21st, which is in 7 days from now. But regardless, there's the Hanged Man. It's the card of Pisces, and it has a number of different meanings. Obviously, you know, we've got a bat in this one. It's kind of appropriate for you. So it talks about seeing things from another perspective, right? And this is you, right? You're able to hang yourself upside down now, right? You're always going to be a creature of the night. There's no way in which your power is going to be diminished. Not at all. But it is possible for you to achieve a level of enlightenment, right, beyond where you are at the moment, if you just make a point of trying to look at things from a different perspective. I mean, the other thing that this talks about is willing, voluntary submission to something that is uncomfortable. The thing is, it's not actually that uncomfortable for you, Scorpio. You're kind of designed for it, right? So as you are doing your work, lean into the discomfort. I think you're doing that anyway, to be honest. We've got that Three of Swords. There's the pain. There's the wounding. We know it's present in Scorpio, right? But look at this progression here. This is the Mother of Pentacles, or the Queen of Pentacles. And for me, the Page, the Knight, and the Queen, they all speak about different levels of understanding the value of something. When you get to the Queen, more often than not, it's the value of yourself, right? It is about that gentle, nurturing energy, which actually, Scorpio, you've always been able to pull out for those people that you are loyal to. But somehow what you have been able to do, right? Even with this here, is start applying this to your internal space, right? It's a gentle, nurturing energy. Treating yourself like your own best friend. I know what Scorpio loyalty is like, and I know there's no way that you would let a friend suffer the way that you have been suffering, right? If there was anything in your capacity to be able to fix that, you would do it. And I sense that shift internally towards you now. That's what you're doing. And then you've got the Empress, and the reason that I really, really love this is because, well, the Empress is the Queen of Queens, right? She's the embodiment of all the queens in one character, one archetype here. You know, but she's very, very closely related to the Queen of Pentacles, you know, because she's earth energy. For me, I mean, some people read this as a Libra card. I can't get my head around it, so I don't. It's Taurus for me, for sure. But, you know, we go from this notion of Bambi legs, wherever it was, with that Page of Pentacles that we had right at the beginning there, to something much more mature, something that is capable of looking after not just, you know, themselves, but someone else as well. And then we gravitate up to this Major Arcana. Solid, rooted, immovable, you know, connected. It talks about fertility and abundance, but you know, we're talking about things really improving for you, specifically because you're now choosing to see yourself differently. You're at least exploring the possibility of seeing yourself differently. And long may it continue, because it will bear fruit for you. And then we've got this, and I just love this so much for you. Like, I really fucking do. If, you know, if I was a crying sort of person, I would probably be feeling a bit emotional about this. I am feeling quite emotional about it, but not particularly drawn to cry over it at the moment, because this card for me talks about connection. And I've said this to you before, Scorpio. I've said this for well over a year now. The very thing that you have deprived yourself of over however long it is that you've been alive is connection, is intimacy, because you don't want it, because it equals pain for you, right? But you've craved it. You've absolutely craved it. And there's been no small measure of self-disgust involved if you've been self-aware enough to realise that that's the thing that you crave. And maybe somebody got under your defences at some point and you had to shut it down. And then you fucking hated yourself for the fact that you'd let them get there in the first place, because it was just kind of reinforcing why those fucking walls were there in the first place, because intimacy equals pain. I see you pushing beyond that now, right? That thing that you craved, you now recognise, but you're willing to do something about it. You're willing to do something positive about it and allow those connections to occur. It's incredible. For some of you, you might even be thinking about reconciling with some people that you've known from the past. I see that here with the star quite strongly. Yeah, and if you are, got the Six of Wands there. It's a Leo card. We've also got the Page of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. Like, maybe now is a good time to reach out to that person if there is somebody important that you're thinking of. But if not, you know, just pushing forwards with the connection, with the openness to connection. It's the victorious route for you. Right then, my loves, I'm going to leave it there. The Scorpio 6-month reading is not yet up, but it should be up in the next sort of 24, 48 hours. So if that's something that you're interested in, that link that's in the description box down there will take you to it. Yes, know that I love you all very much, and I'm so proud of what you've done this year. It's absolutely extraordinary. Right, you take care, and I'll see you soon.